thank you, Matt, for joining us from Power Forward, and Zach from Rorman Auto Group. You've both gone live on Tekion and you're partners of ours. So looking forward to talking to you about your experience and you kind of imparting your knowledge on others as to how you drove a successful implementation and what recommendations would you have for others.
I think for us, it was just looking for a solution that imported more data. And I feel like in the DMSs we've been in the past and the opportunities we've had, there was always kind of those missing pieces that you could only get when you were right in front of your computer. So for us, when we went searching, it was what was new, what was innovative, and what was going to provide more data analytics for us to be running a true business and not a car dealership. We talk about that quite a bit at our company.
So change is hard, whether it's any technology platform. What recommendations would you have for people contemplating doing the switch or planning to switch on, like, what would you suggest to them to prepare and like mitigate as a risk or, make the change easier?
Well, I think everybody likes disruption. Just kidding. But anytime you have disruption, in order to have change, there's three things: change, disruption, and growth. So for us, when we wanted to switch our DMSs, we wanted to find a true partner first and foremost, and that's been Tekion. And for us, there is disruption when you switch to DMS. That's always going to happen. But Tekion does a phenomenal job of minimizing that disruption. And ultimately, you have a little bit of disruption for the change because we all want to see growth in our dealerships. And Tekion really helps us drive that growth. And it's been very successful for us.
For sure. And we have 20 plus rooftops. So for us, we knew it was going to be a mega switch, and disruption's a very easy word. I think a lot of times we forget about the emotional side and what people are going to go through. So as leaders, we made the decision because we felt it was best for our company. And I think if we were to do it again, we may consider more of how do we help on the people side? How do we make sure that the communication lines are open, more frequent? And I think we talk a lot in our business. Businesses fail to scale, which is the move we made, which was Tekion, because we failed to communicate. So if we were to do it again, or anyone else that was going to do it, we would encourage open communication at a higher frequency.
I think a big part of dealer success is business process and consistency in day-to-day. And oftentimes when dealers are moving to a new DMS, they also kind of want to think about their business processes at the same time. We'd love to hear from you all. How did you guys approach that as part of the DMS change management in terms of evaluating your business and how you could get the most out of the platform?
One of the things I love about Tekion is the analytics and reporting that it provides. It gives managers and dealer partners the ability to quickly navigate the true numbers of what you're looking for. In other DMSs and other partners, you may look at everything's very siloed. So if you're in a dealer in the sales side, going over to the service side is very challenging. You have to get out and get back in. But Tekion, it's really all encompassing. And so the navigation of finding information is critical. And we all know that time is money. And to be able to provide that additional information to our managers and directors is invaluable. And so, we're a single point store, and, the analytics and reporting is second to none. From a 20 plus group store, the enterprise level reporting is, if you have multiple dealerships, to not have the enterprise reporting, I think is, it's crazy.
Yeah, for us, obviously being in the auto industry, competition's huge, and it's what keeps us in it, the motivation. So to be able to have the enterprise reporting, to have all the dealerships' daily profitabilities, outcomes, service, etc., has been huge for us. Where in the past, it was very difficult to look, a Toyota store to a Kia store, a Toyota store to a Hyundai store. So for us to be able to put that into, analytics, reporting, dashboards has been huge for us. The other side that we've seen is understanding the value of a customer in all of the different areas of the business. You think on the sales side, this customer pays, this every time they buy a car, but you forget what happens in service, what happens in parts, what happens in the lifetime ownership experience. And Tekion brings that to one platform where you don't have to go find it. You don't have to go to the other department and ask somebody to identify those key features.
So implementation is a journey. You sign, you make the decision to switch platforms, but then starts the hard work. Like, we need to move, and we need to move our data, and we need to train our people, and we need to change our processes. Talk about, like, how was that experience from you, from kind of understanding and communicating your business processes to transitioning and migrating your data to kind of training and ultimately going live?
I think a lot of deep breaths. There was a lot of individuals that came into my office that were, maxed out. That why'd you guys make this decision? And again, it goes back to the communication, really opening that line for them to be able to understand why. I think for us, and the way that I would encourage anybody on the DMS, is to make sure your leadership team has been introduced to the platform, understands it, before you introduce it to the whole entire company. And for us, we made that decision, and it was invaluable because when they came in upset, there was a more of a, learning experience than just we're doing it, get on board. So I think Tekion also does a phenomenal job providing the resources when you are stuck to get past those hurdles that inevitably are going to come with something that's new.
Yes, I think for us, one of the things to have your managers and your leaders really get involved and on board before they roll out to the team, that's critical. I think when we made the switch, when we first did that, I think I would have said if Tekion will say this is the roadmap for a successful implementation. They have it, they've done it. So if they're asking the F&I manager to bill, do a couple of deals in the back, so it's 4 deals, or they're asking the desk manager to desk 5 deals, or a service advisor to write 10 ROs. They're doing that because they know that that's the right thing to do. So it's basically, you're telling a service advisor, create 10 ROs or don't come to work tomorrow, because inevitably Tekion will leave, and then that service advisor or manager desking the deal will go, wait, what's happening? And because someone's not there holding their hand anymore. And so really making sure that you follow the path for implementation, I think, is crucial for a successful implementation.
And talk a little bit about, so you go through your training and then you launch kind of the next week. How, what level of support did you need? Did you feel like you had this support required? Also, did your end users ultimately, so it's one thing for the leadership team to feel that they have support, but the feet on the ground, like the techs and the people that are using the platform, how did they feel going through the process?
Well, technicians and parts back counter guys love change. So they don't. But I will say, technicians, they want to wrench and they want to turn hours and they want to fix cars. And so the disruption in the dealership is equipping them with the resources and the tools to have the software enhance their ability to do that. And so for us, the level of support that Tekion provides during implementation was second to none. And when it's a true partnership, when something goes wrong, which inevitably, as Zach said, it happens, for Tekion was always right there in a minute. And that was that truly makes the difference for us between a DMS software versus a true partner in this together.
For sure. And I agree completely. The part that Tekion we found to be just so unique was that the first question was, what do you want to accomplish, instead of here's how it's going to work. And I think anytime you launch a DMS, it's never going to fit in perfect with your process because you're a unique unicorn in yourself in the way your dealership operates. But I think it was refreshing again to have a company sit across from you and say, what do you want to accomplish? How can we assist? How can we use our tool within your process? And then that's an easy way to transition that to staff of how we're going to make you more money, how we're going to be more efficient in the shop, how we're going to, as parts individuals, not have to chase tickets. And for us, that was inevitable. I mean, we felt like as a company, we were stuck in the Stone Age for so long. Everything was done on paper. Everything was slow. There was no reason to why we did it. It just was because we do it that way. And Tekion has consistently, since we've launched a year ago, said, hey, something new is coming. Here's why it's coming. Thank you for your support. And we've made the change because of your recommendation as well. So it's been a very unique experience in that as well.
As dealers, you all invest a lot in training technicians, training your sales teams. We'd love to hear how you guys, in retrospect, looked at implementation and how you approach training your staff with the changes of business processes using Tekion.
Yeah, I mean, for us, this is the second DMS switch I've gone through in 10 years. So we at least had our toes in the water and understood what it was going to be. I think that's the first thing, is to understand that it's not going to be easy. We coined the phrase that it's new, we're learning, and we're excited to have it. So there was no complaining. When you came in to complain, we started with those 3 things always. The part that I think becomes unique about Tekion is that it's not created off a legacy DMS where you have to understand all the codes and You have to train a whole new language to even operate inside the facility. It's point and click. And it seems so simple since everyone else and all the technology we use daily is point and click. But in the auto industry, there's no DMS that's got there. And I think that's where everybody's now chasing Tekion. And for us, onboarding, training, developing has been just so quick. I mean, a technician for us, we would say in 6 months could understand how to use the system. And an advisor was 3 months, would really understand it. An advisor is a week, and they can start writing ROs at the full capacity. And a technician is an afternoon, maybe 2 days if they're really struggling. But that's just the parts about Tekion that, again, once you get past everybody's shock of it being new, they fall in line quick. And my parts department now would be hard-pressed to switch off Tekion. My clerical department will not switch from Tekion. We've had conversations of, would you rather have what we were on versus this? And it's hands down. And they were the ones that I think were on the full alarm bells when we said we were switching.
Yeah, the training is one of the things I like about Tekion is the knowledge base that you all provide. So when there are updates, the quarterly updates that the Tekion pushes out to the dealers, but ultimately the knowledge base, when you want to find information, it is so comprehensive, and that has been great for training. When you're onboarding, the training tracks that you have for the different positions in the dealership to watch the videos to say, this is exactly how you do it from point A to point B. So the knowledge is out there. It's just on our teams to go get that knowledge and embrace the change, which will ultimately lead to growth.
So you mentioned the word change, and so like there's often a change curve as you kind of move and roll out new processes, new technology, things like that. Talk to me about, did you have kind of milestones? Like, what were you looking to accomplish 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 180 days? Like, did you talk about that as like a leadership team? And what are some of those milestones that you've seen as you've gone through the process?
So for us, I think it's important to set those realistic milestones when you're transferring. The first 30 days is survival is not the right word, but becoming functional with the system. And because it is point and click, which is like every other software outside of automotive, it's very easy to adapt and learn the process. For us, at the 90 days, then it's becoming more efficient. And so there's efficiency deadline or a milestone, I would say, at 90 days. And then at 180 days, that is where it starts getting really fun, because you're optimizing your processes around your processes in Tekion. And that's when it really starts to, I think for us, where we really start to solve the efficiencies and ultimately maximize our revenue.
Yeah, I think to your question, the first 30 days, survival is probably the right word. And again, it wasn't the tool, it was people. And we're in the people business. And once you cross that line into the leadership, you are in people business. So I get it. The emotional differences, why are we doing it? My paycheck was fine last year. I don't need this. The business has been, in our case, around for 50 years, 60 years. We've always found a way. We don't need this. The unique part, again, was what I referenced at the very beginning. The data and analytics is just so empowering. And when we started to see leaders start to automatically update their own personal forecasts, to come to me and say, hey, boss, did you understand I'm at 107% of my pace versus I'm having a good month. And to me as a leader, that was the change that was light bulb moments of, oh my goodness, my service manager doesn't know at the end of the month, was he up or down? He knows on the 12th he's 7% above last year, and he's actually tracking daily metrics, not just gross profit. And I think that's the unique that we saw around 90 days. Now that we're coming up on the 1 year anniversary, it's, the every day you still find one more tool that you didn't know was in there. And I think that's amazing that every time we think we've hit the capacity of Tekion, we understand it, we're pros, we're veterans, we get it. Somebody in our company comes up with some different report, some different analytic that makes our business even more efficient. And that's kind of the part that just continues to wow us about the platform.
And that speaks to the level of support. I know for us, we have a customer success manager, and they're very available. The analytics, we have Jen Bishop, who's amazing, walking through analytics and making sure we're in tune with our businesses, and we'll spend time with each manager going through their metrics. And so it's knowing the numbers of your business is crucial, and Tekion really does that, to Zach's point.
Looking back, as going through that 90-day process to get to efficiency, you're going to have individual team members who are less technologically savvy. They're super resistant to change. How do you drive adoption of the technology and the platform consistently with those individuals? Because they could be across every department at the dealership. So we'd love to learn, how do you guys approach that?
I think for us, when we were doing that, we had to we talked with those individuals and would say, we have to go back to the heart of why we switched. And we switched ultimately, yes, to drive bottom line growth, top line sales and bottom line growth. But ultimately it was to create a better customer experience. And through, what Zach was saying earlier about, it's not just the sale transaction of a vehicle, it's also what they do in service and how Tekion really provides that information and insight. And so we went back to those people and just had to kind of say, hey, this is not about you. And so just because you may have to do 3 clicks when you used to have to do 2, well, your 3 clicks saves the person in the shipping and receiving dock 4 clicks. So we're a team here, and that's what we're going to be. So just kind of reminding people that, hey, it's not all about you.
I would say cancellation notices is how we get those people to join. Rip the Band-Aid off. Don't play the game. I know a lot of times you want to leave the other DMS in the background running in case of emergency, in case the customer comes on and needs the RO written fast and the person gets stuck because it's new. We truly just went all in, and we said in that scenario, if we're making the change, we're making the change, and it's going to be painful, and we're going to learn, and we're going to fight through it together, but we're not going to leave anything in the background as a safety net. And I think that speeds the process up. It may create that. I'm in a unique situation where I have 3 individuals in my store that have over 30 years experience. So they're more used to the Rolodex approach than any technology. So every day, even coming up to the 1-year anniversary, I am sure they are not fully adapted to Tekion, but it's just showing them one more way to be more efficient. And exactly what you just shared is, some of the changes we may have made may not have been for us. And I think this is the first platform that I've ever seen in the auto industry that's truly saying, hey, we're making the change for the consumer, not the dealership. And that's the way. I mean, we all know the secret's through the consumer. So if it makes the consumer's way to pay and service that much faster, I'm in. We'll do whatever it takes.
Jay had a really great presentation earlier about generative AI and all these new technologies and really driving additional productivity at the dealership and increasing customer satisfaction as a result. And that means continual change, right? Tekion's constantly innovating and delivering more features. How do you guys think about continually driving that across the team, right? Year over year, because it's not like other DMSs where it's once you know it, you kind of just use it as it is. So how are you going to manage change on an ongoing basis for the dealerships?
Yeah, I think for us, again, I referenced it, we don't want to be in the car industry. That's the product. We're in the people business. We've talked about that for years. Our company has made a big shift in wanting to be, core value driven because of that same purpose. So any platform that can come to us that can make a customer's experience more efficient, less of a headache. I mean, that's the truth of us all recognizing the business we've been in for so many years. We're willing to make the sacrifice. And if that means technology, if that means things we're uncomfortable with, if that means making business decisions in areas that become data analytics versus guts. No other industry in the world really operates off gut as much as this business does. So for us, it's like, let's pull in all that data and let's make an actual educated business decision, and let's stop playing car dealership and car sales. So whatever it takes to obviously grow in the business sense, we're all in for that.
But new features come out, obviously, but people that are joining Tekion, they want that innovation. Other legacy DMS companies have grown through acquisition, and Tekion has really grown through innovation, and they continue to do that. And so with the quarterly updates, they used to be monthly updates, and then when they went to quarterly updates, it was interesting to see the team, and Brian and I were talking about this earlier, where it went from, there's an update, but now when it's a quarterly update, it's like Christmas morning. What's the update? Let's see it. Let's get it. And so now they're excited to get the quarterly updates and dive in, and because there are pain or friction points through the process, and the more that Tekion continues to innovate and minimizes those friction points, our team is excited about it. When they get excited about it, we all know happy employees equals happy customers.
I just wanted to ask a little bit about looking back, right? If you were to re-implement the store, I'm sure all the dealers here would love to say, like, what would you do differently, right? Like, you've been through it once and multiple times and probably learned a lot along the way. Like, 1 or 2 things that you're like, I would definitely do this with my team, or process-wise change. What would you recommend to them?
I think, again, we're a large dealer group. I think we would have gone a more intimate approach trying to really champion somebody from each store location to go into the next store so that when Tekion did leave, there was somebody to assist, somebody to help, somebody to answer questions on the fly. I mean, we thought in the launch it would be best to do all of our regions at the same time so everybody was kind of in the same spot. And I think that just amplifies the magnitude of change and the voices that are raising hands, complaining as such. So I think truly trying to take more of a business style approach and say Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. I know that may slow down the transition and leave a kind of that awkward spot, but I think it's the way to make sure that when Tekion does leave, there's a path to success versus the chaos that we both have seen.
I love the champion. I'd have a champion in each department, which should be your manager. Ultimately, having everybody in a room and say, you're the champion. You need to know your business. That's the number one thing. The managers have to really know their business. Getting really granular, I would probably have said, we're going to do normal operations and business in the morning, and then we are going to, we're going to shut down business for half a day. And then said we're all getting in the classroom for the different areas and really immersed ourselves in that, whether that's on a Sunday or whatever. Because if you try to save money to not do the training initially, it's going to cost you in lost productivity. So it's not, you're not saving any money by doing that. So I would encourage, you've already made the investment, to continue to go through with the investment to get it right.
Well, Matt, Zach, thank you for imparting your knowledge on us and as well as others. Really appreciate you taking the time, as well as your continued partnership with us as a company. So let's give it up for Matt and Zach. Thank you.
Thank you.